Hi, I'm in my car again. I'm waiting for my kids from school and decided to do video because I'm so sorry I didn't do it yesterday uh, for a couple of reasons. First, it was busy day, I didn't have time. And second is I was kind of figure out that if I would do each day, that would be too much. So bear on me because I still try to figure out the best way to do it. So at this point, I decided to do once a week, kind of summing up the whole week in one video what happened during this week in my spiritual life and share a little bit what going on in my life, so to share with you. But today, so because I'm waiting for kids, I have time, quiet time, and I decided to bring some topic that I was thinking for a long time to share. But this topic is so hard to share because it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to find words to describe it, and that actually everybody can understand what you're talking, because I tried with some people to share, and people who didn't go through it, it's so hard to understand. That's why I will try to do my best to kind of explain and bring and share, and I'm doing it with the hope that this video would help someone who is going through this. So, and I want to talk about depression. I had depression for a long time, but I didn't know. I would say I maybe didn't want to believe that I have depression. I just had some bad days, and I had many of them, like everyday bad days. But at the same time, I don't know, it just like wasn't. I don't know. I didn't want to just accept it, and maybe it just like it's never talked to the church when I grew up that about depression or something. It's more like, okay, if you have this kind of days, you have to trust God, you have to go through, you have to like if I have these bad days, that's mean I'm not trusting enough. If I'm going through some kind of situations and I have problem with it to go through it, that's mean I'm not trusting God enough. And I think that was the root of me not accepting that I have depression. So for me it was, okay, I'm doing something wrong, I need to try harder, I need to do better, I need to lean more to God, and I need this and this and this and that, without accepting that I have a problem and I need to do something with it. So, and I would try the best, but I still will try go back and forth, like when the depression starts and when I actually figured out. So, and I had this moody days, and I didn't sleep well, so I had a lot of thoughts in my head. I had that many thoughts that I couldn't fight them, and I couldn't sleep because of it. It just like too much in my head going on, and I prayed and prayed. I remember I was in college, and between classes I was sitting on the ground, and I was holding my head because so many thoughts in it, and it's just like dark thoughts. It's just like, I'm the worst mom, I'm the worst wife, I can't do this, I can't do this, and I'm not good at this, I'm not good at this. And I accepted it just because it's kind of, I used to it. I'm not good at anything, and it goes from long ago, goes from school, from church, from everywhere. So I'm like, so I used to it. It's kind of, I'm accepting it. And I was sitting and I'm like praying, like, God help me, please help me. and nothing changes, you know. And this brought me to insomnia. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor checked everything. And first I was explaining, like, I was thinking that I have thyroid something problem. So they did a test, everything good, so they couldn't find anything. And I was praying that God would help me to figure out what's going on. After that, because I couldn't sleep, I had my little son. I think he was like maybe 5 months or something. So I was kind of putting all of this, okay, like going to college, learning a new language, new country, new culture, everything new. So going to school, so okay, maybe this is a problem. And after this, I remember I was driving my kids to childcare, and I had panic attack by the wheel. So I was feeling like I'm fainting, and I was scared to death because my heart started pumping, you know, and my hands and my legs was numbing, and I was thinking, that's it, I was like losing control, and I will crash. So I opened my windows, I turned in loud music, and I just prayed that I can bring my kids to the childcare safely. So God was merciful to me, and my kids went to childcare. And after that, even thought about it brings me to anxiety. I couldn't drive just, you know, simple road. I'm not talking about, I stopped driving if any bridges just brings me scared to death, I would say, you know, like no new roads that I don't know. So it was simple, school and back, or just store close by. And it's still, I had so many these panic attacks by the wheel. And I always would call my sister and say, oh, okay, I have this, like, talk to me. So I went to the doctor, explains all the symptoms, and she's like, you have depression. Do you wanna, I will subscribe you pills. And I heard the pills, I'm like, no, thank you, I don't have depression. So can you just find out what's wrong with me? Because they checked all the blood tests, they did all these hormones and everything just perfect, you know, like I'm healthy as a horse, I would say. But something was wrong, and I knew something was wrong. So I said, no, can you please find another doctor? She said, okay, I will just she referred me to the I forgot, neurologist. So I went to neurologist, checked with him. He said, you have a depression. I said, you're wrong. I went home, and I was struggling a lot. I was praying, I was trying to figure out. And at this moment I was taking psychology at college, and it was general psychology, and there was some disorder, disease and everything. And I found, like, we were reading about insomnia, and I'm reading and I see all my symptoms, and I'm like, whoa, that is, it's not depression, it's just insomnia. So because of this, I start like working on this. It's crazy. So kind of trying to solve this problem, to go in the bed, bought some melatonin and all of this. But it's kind of was a little easier, but still I had these thoughts in my head. And I remember one day I was driving to pick up my kids, and I had this thought that I would love to die. I would love to, like, that God would take me home. And it scares me because I have little kids. I had my baby and two just little older kids, and I knew I needed help. So I prayed, and God put on my heart to go to pastor, to see a pastor. So I scheduled an appointment, and he was booked far long. And I said, okay. So I think in 2 months, and I was thinking, like, I can die in 2 months. And I said, God, if it's from you, if it's you want me to go to the pastor, just arrange it. Next day, his assistant called me and said he has a window right now. If he can't come in 20 minutes, he has time for you. And thankfully my class just finished, so I had this time, and I was like, yes, I'm coming. So I came to visit Pastor Craig from the Arcade Church, and I came and I said, I need help. I need what Bible says. I need peace that higher than my understanding, higher than anything. So I'm going through so many problems in my life, and I can't do it unless I have this peace, like Paul had when next day they put him in a prison, and he's going to die next day, but he's singing, and after that he just fall asleep. Even angel has to kick him, like to wake him up. And I'm like, I need this peace in my life because I'm going through harsh time. I had problem in my marriage, and as I said, it was new country and everything, like because when I came here I didn't know any English, even ABC, so I had to start from the beginning. I had babies, went through all of this, it was too much, and I shared what was on my heart. And just first time in my life, pastor was saying that I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right path, and continue pray, continue knock, and he will open. He encouraged me a lot, and he said, you need to do counselor. So I signed up for the counselor, and I did couple sessions, and first 3 sessions helped me a lot, rest not. So it's not necessary it works for everybody, but these 3 changed a lot, because 3 things that they asked me to do is just find in the Bible all the verses that God is speaking about me, who I am in a God. So, and I started looking, I started digging the Bible, I started reading it, and it's kind of helped me go from it, Yeah, I continue pray because I didn't have money to pay for the counselor, and at this point I had to figure out by myself everything. And I knew that I said, God, I trust you, just lead me, just figure out what is it. And thanks to God just led me to the doctor who wasn't pushing any pills to me. She was Asian, and she was like didn't say like depression or something. She said, whatever I hear from you and I see, it just, you had so much in your life that your body can't handle stress anymore. And when we have stress, the body release the happy hormone. And when you have too much stress, one by one, sometimes it just like kind of breaks, and my body can't release enough happy hormones to kind of cover all the stress and everything. So, and this is depression. When she explained like this, and I didn't feel like she's pushing anything, because she said, let's try from your culture any you can find natural thing that can help you. I'm totally support you. So I was trying to do food supplements, and reading a lot of books, whatever I can find. I was continue praying, and God just leads me slowly. When I figure out that I have depression, I start kind of googling and searching what is it, and I found a test. I did a test, and the test showed that I have deep depression. And this time also my husband was on the nursing program, and they had also has to go through the psychology, and he did test with me too. and it shows that some questions, you know, like about me, and for him it was kind of unbelievable because I'm always, you know, emotional and kind of cheering up, let's do. But when he asked me some questions and I answered them honestly, he was kind of shocked, because when he said like, how do you feel or something, and I said, I have some in me, some rooms that I never looked in. I scared. I just ran from it because I know if I looked down in me, this is just darkness. This is just so horrible that I don't want to leave. So I just lock up this place in me and I try to not to look in it. So I ran from it. That's why before the COVID, I was making myself busy all the time. Kids go to school, so I'm just doing business, running and this and that. And be honestly, also I'm the person that I was actually looking for help. I was talking to people that I'm going through, but I think just because I'm strong, I'm very strong, God created me a warrior. And people didn't believe that I have depression, I need help. They just, whenever I shared with the woman at church, they said, oh, this is just a season, you know, it will pass. And it was so hard because I didn't get support that I needed, you know, to go through it. But I knew that God will help me. So I was kind of alone because my family didn't believe kind of that I have this, people around didn't believe. So I was by myself to going through all of this. So I was just praying. But be honestly, this is time when I learned how to pray and how to rely on God. I didn't read Bible because I couldn't. I didn't have any strength to do this. But I prayed and listened a lot of worship. So I will post all my songs that helped me to go through this time. So when I figure out that I have depression, I start to dig in, like to see where it starts from, to find the kind of where I didn't notice it, where it just go, you know, like. And I figure out like before, it was a lot of in my life because I grew up in a big family, and our family, my father was exiled in Siberia because of his belief in communist time. So it's cool. My teacher would pick up on me and say like, stand up, oh, you see her father is just a Christian, so don't make friends with her, it's just bad influence. So at school I was by myself, and as a child I kind of like, okay, of course it was hard for me at school, but at the same time I didn't pay attention that it would influence my life, you know. So, and many other things at some point. So when I was 21, my father died, and 40 days later my mom died. And how I figure out, so actually that was a point when everything just turned, because in my country we don't have this education how to go through grief. So I just deal with it how I can deal. And how I understand, it's actually beginning of my depression. After that I lived by myself in different countries, so it was super hard. I rented an apartment, I had to pay. I worked 2 jobs, I went to university, and so homework, it was just too much on the plate. But I can't change anything because I had to survive, kind of like, I have to build my life. I didn't have parents anymore to kind of take care of me. So this also changed a lot of in my emotions and everything. And I was thinking that marriage could save me, just happy ending, happy everything we see. So I met a guy at my 30s. I got married, and in the marriage, like many couples, we had the problems, and these problems just piled up on everything I had before. And before marriage, I had so many problems at church, also because I'm creative, outspoken, critical thinking person, and I always would ask questions, and it wasn't welcome, kind of, because women should be more like submissive, and just obey the rules and all of this. And it was hard also on me. So I just like, we had only one church, I couldn't go anywhere. That's why I was also praying that God would resolve it, that I can grow spiritually. So I got married, we had problem, and this brings more and more. So we moved here, new country, as I said, kids, pregnancy. So, and I understand it's ended up and all the pile that brought me to this insomnia and all the thoughts, and Satan just caught me, so easily on think this everything is my fault, because I used to that everything is my fault. When I figured it out, it changes everything, when I just looked where it from, so God pointed me all the, like, where it starts, what this point that bring me to that point. So I started, okay, I need, right now I can deal. So I notice whenever I talk with people, and after that I feel so bad after all, that God showed me that I have to take care of myself. I can't heal until I kind of like cut all these people from me at this point, because I have to heal. It's the same if you have wound and people would just like, or something would get it, that bad one that would never heal. The same with our soul. So if we in depression, if we're going through something, so if there is people, even relatives, that actually made feel you bad or some depressed, and this gives place for Satan to use it, to just sit in your head. We have to just cut at this point and put the boundaries that we can actually gain the strength, spiritual strength, physical strength in us, that we can actually go. So this was my first step to recovery. I started to put boundaries. It was so hard, especially with relatives, because it's kind of weird and rude and mean everything, like, because it's a family. Even sometimes I had to put boundaries with my husband, because it's like, okay, I can't do that anymore, I can't do this anymore, I have to take care of myself. And that helped me a lot, because I was thinking, okay, if I want to heal, I have to drink from the spring of water, not from the like bottle or something like that. I need to find the people who is strong spiritually to be around, that I can feel myself with this spiritual strength. Also, I remember another pastor said that sometimes we can be spiritual sick, I would say. And when we're sick, we are not eating the meat or something, right? We eat soup, chicken broth soup, something easy. So, and he said this easy is Psalms in the Bible. It's kind of this noodle soup for the soul. And that's when we start. So I start to read Psalms just one by one. Sometimes I just feel my soul. So a lot of worship songs. Try to connect with the church, but it was hard. As I said, I don't know, it was just whenever I share, people just try to put too much on me, you know, just giving thousand advice without knowing what I'm going through. And this advice didn't work at all because they didn't know what situation I'm in, and they actually didn't want to know. They never ask a question, just put a lot of advice. You know, I share just this information about something to kind of look for help. So that was my kind of next step, and I will continue praying and that God will show me. And I shared with one lady what I'm going, that I have depression. She gave advice to read a book. I don't remember the name, so I will post it also. And I don't remember when I found another book called Switch Your Brain, and it helped me so much, because this book is wrote by a Christian author and at the same time scientist. So they put science and Bible together and show how in the Bible, whatever God says, the science came to it and said, oh yes, we can actually rewire our brain. Okay, and the Bible says, so renew our mind, and the science came to it that we actually can renew our mind. So because I came up to the point, I lost all my friends. So one another thing in depression is just like you lose confidence completely. You're just thinking you're the worst person in the world, and nobody wants to be friends with you. And this is like issue, because I lost all my friends. I didn't have any friends, and as hard I was trying to make a friends, I understand everybody just ran away, because I think I had too much bitterness in myself that people couldn't be around, or I don't know the reason. It just like it was like this. So it was so hard period, and it was the same time you concentrate on yourself, you become self-pity, you know, like everything's so bad, everything's so horrible, and I don't know, no happiness in life. I became the person that just complaining and seeing just the worst in the life, I would say. At the same time, it was kind of like weird that I had full of hope, because I'm the person who is a dreamer. I always have dreams. I always dream and never give up. You know, I believe in the best, and these two kind of coexist together. I don't know how, but it was. So there somehow, at some day, the real person, dreamer, would come up, and I'm like, no, we can do it, and just push, go forward. And couple next day, I just would lock doors and phones and answering no one, and just say, okay, I'm just like completely out of the world, nobody talk to me. So but I continue praying, reading these books, working on my life. I start to because I knew that's depression, I start to be really strict on like what time I'm going to bed, what I'm watching on the like Instagram. So I unfollow a lot of people that make me feel less worthy, or you know, like moms with the perfect clean houses and everything. I'm like, no, I'm right now, I'm not healthy enough to not compare and not to think that I am like bad mom or something. So I am full of these people. Even I like, this is beautiful, good people, but I can't on this time, I can't. So whenever you have depression, you need to see careful of what you're watching, like what is going in you. So another step to heal up with depression is to check your heart and see what is draining from you, what is draining emotions, draining strength from you, and what is giving you emotions, giving you strength, giving you good mood, you know. So whenever you know this, you start carefully picking, making choices in the life. I'm like, okay, I'm not watching this because it makes me this. I'm not meeting with this person, not talking, because after this I have these thoughts not good, you know, going on in my head, just so many thinking, so many like emotions, not good, not healthy emotions, you know. It even can be like, I went to Bible study, and after each Bible study, because there was a person that make me this way, like that I'm nothing, kind of, I'm like, I don't know, I just like was weird. I was thinking that I felt this way, that I am not worthy, I'm not, kind of, I can't explain it, but I think you understand what I'm talking. So whenever I go after the Bible study, I had these feelings, you know, like and I understood this is not healthy. So I had to leave this group, because at this period I can't. Maybe another time I can be, because I'm like spiritually healthy, but I'm not right now. When we have depression, we are not spiritually healthy. So we need just careful look. I'm still looking because I'm still on my recovery from the depression, because I'm not taking medicine, I'm doing it with God. And I'm not telling that it's bad or not, it's just my experience, that's why I'm sharing. Maybe someone completely against the medicine like I am, because I checked my hormones and it's good, so I don't need, for me, I don't need medicine, so I can do it actually by myself, healthy, just changing lifestyle, changing the thinking, you know, how I look on so many things. So put the boundaries, checking what is draining strength from you and what is gaining. So I noticed the beautiful food when I place, colorful, it just make me happy, you know, enjoy, not fun when you eat, so just enjoying the food. Another one, we moved to excluded area, we live in the forest, and that was the best decision, I would say. So I know so many people can afford, but what you can afford, you can find the place with nature, because nature heals, because God said when he presents himself in nature, right? He said in the Romans, I think he said, you can see me in the nature, that people wouldn't be without excuse, because you can see. So the nature heals so much, because you can see God in it, the presence of God. You have peace whenever you're going. So I'm spending a lot of time outside. So when we moved, I stopped doing so many things. Even during the groups or something, I spend a lot of time just at home, just on my backyard, refilling myself, you know, just so my routine would be, I wake up in the morning, drink my coffee on the porch, enjoying the bird shivering, you know. After that, I would do stretches, I would do yoga, and kind of, again, slowly relaxing. And after that, I would start my day. Even I have kids, so I had to take care of myself. At that point, I said, okay, you can do breakfast. I taught you how to do breakfast, so breakfast not on me. It's my time, it's morning time. So there's waffles in the freezer. You can do toast, you can do peanut butter sandwiches. So it's easy that you can do. I don't have babies anymore, so from the 5 years old, they can make sandwiches, you know. So sometimes we need to find this time. If kids like this, if the kids can do something, they had to do. So I'm not doing breakfast anymore. So but the breakfast time is my time to take care of myself, because this is usually like my time to recharge, not evenings, like mornings. So you need find your time when you find that you can actually feel yourself, recharge yourself. So this is time when I'm like in the morning, I can read Bible, I turn on worship, just listen worship, find my best song. I made a list of my favorite songs, and I still do this. So I'm listening in my radio, I'm listening K-Love and Fish and all of this. So so far I don't have any panic attack by the wheel. Sometimes it's happened when it's new road or something, like something scary, like big bridges or something, but I start kind of control my mind whenever it has the thoughts. I would say, okay, I had a good sleep, so there is no reason, because I went to bed on time, so I had breakfast in the morning, I had food, so everything is good in my life. I kind of like talking to myself, you know. I'm like, okay, there's no reason to panic because I did this and that, and of that I just like continue praying, turning on worship, and just start again and again, kind of pursue myself that nothing, so that everything is okay, so I'm doing this. And right now I'm working on what this renewing my brain, kind of my thinking, because you know, before, if something, like any conversation I had with any person, so I would sit in my car and think, oh, I was just horrible, I think this person would never talk to me again, I talk too much, or this or this, and I start digging me in, taking like, oh, I'm not good at it, oh, I said again, I said this, I did this, and then just all these thoughts. So when I figure out, okay, this is Satan doing this, so sometimes I'm sitting in my car and I have these thoughts like, oh, I just said too much, why I said that, and I'm like, cut. And like, even if I said something bad, even if I said something unnecessary, or if I said too much information or something, okay, so sorry and move on. Stop, give Satan the place, you know, like cultivate all of this, and I start cutting it, like, okay. Or sometimes like person say something, I'm like, oh, maybe she means that, and again I start thinking, I'm like, I don't know what she's thinking, so cut it, stop thinking. So worship, I'm turning and pushing myself, kind of like, first it was unnatural to me, like cut and worship. Now it's much easier because I'm kind of renewing, instead of bad thinking, all these thoughts, I'm renewing them to actually give them to God. You know, I'm like, God, okay, if just that would be good experience, good example not to do that. So I did this, what I can do. If I hurt someone, yes, so go ask for forgiveness and just move on. Not, don't give the Satan place to, this is not my war to fight, right? This is God's war, this is mine. It's like the most we have to like take care, because this is the most war happens, and because it goes here all the way. So in Satan know it, that's why he's doing it. And depression is kind of the easiest way to get us, because in depression, that's all we have, bad thoughts. We can't think clearly, and unless God helps us to do that. So that's it. So this is actually how I continue. I'm not healed completely yet, so I still have bad days, and that's why I said I can't do it every day, because sometimes I'm just completely out. I have this again thoughts that I'm kind of like wasting my life or something, I don't know. I'm like, because I'm homeschool my kids and 24/7 I'm in my house, I volunteer, yes, and sometimes everything Satan pick, you know. And some days I'm like, what I'm doing there, I'm just a useless person in the world, kind of like this, I'm not this, I'm not. So Satan is just putting in self-confidence, because when we are not self-confident, we can't do anything, because God created and he said, you are worthy. I created you with the potential. I created you in my image. You know, you are creative. You can do a lot of stuff I send you to do. And when we doubt ourselves, we can't do anything. And I see it because I volunteer at middle school ministry, and Satan got me there, because sometimes I'm coming and I'm like, I can't, what I can give them? If I can't pull up my life together. Like, I can't do that. And they are from different culture, they think differently. I have to translate all the time I say, and sometimes I don't understand what they say, and I'm just digging myself in. And at some point I'll just start crying. Even during the ministry I start crying. I'm like, what I'm doing here, what I'm doing. I'm not qualified to do that, unless I'm just giving everything to God and I say, God, yes, I'm not qualified to do this, but you can do it through me. So at this point, I'm giving you everything. So I just got these thoughts, I'm like, God, just do it through me. And I think it's everyday battle. It's just like every day the war we are fighting with depression or not. Last thing I want to say about, like, I don't know if many different kind of depressions, but so far I know two. One person is just when the person in depression, these people just you can see by their face, you can, like, they are shutting down, they're not speaking to anyone, they're just completely shutting down, and you can see that they are in depression. So it's kind of so easy, because you see this person, you pray, you just do that. And other people like me, and I know there's people like me, because I saw these people, I spoke to this kind of people, and I heard about these people. It's we never show that we are in depression. Whenever we are in people, because we are extrovert, we are kind of recharging, we are like emotionally, we are this and that, but we speak our problems, we speak what we need, we speak like, oh, I have this and that. And because of our emotions and everything, people don't believe that it's deep, and this point, sometimes it just came to harsh time. Like, my friend shared that her friend just committed suicide just because of that. She was so bright, emotional, and she was sharing that she's going through hard time, but people just didn't believe that it's that big problem, just like, okay, just go outside, just have fun, and that's it. And my husband took a class with a girl, and the same story, she just committed suicide, and everybody just was surprised, like they didn't know that even she had depression or something. And just want to just say that, please be careful, especially when people share that they have hard time. Don't brush it off, just don't say, no, this is a season. It's like, if you can't do anything, just can't. If you can't, you can pray for this person. If you can't just meet with this person, if you can come and help this person, just pray, because prayers is a lot, because there is a war for this soul, each soul. And right now we have more and more and more depression, especially right now we have a lot of depression in teenagers. And we just hear a lot of news that teenagers committed suicide. And that's why I want to say there is not always like on the face and everything depressed. Some people just going through depression and putting mask on the face that everything is okay. And I'm one of them, be honestly. I don't, because I stopped trusting people just because of that. I stopped trusting them because whenever I share, they say, oh, and it hurt more, because whenever you don't share, you are not expecting people to help you. But when you share, you expect, and people don't help you, it hurts so much. That's why I stop sharing. I share whenever I go through, I finished, and I share like this. I share about my depression because I went through it, and it's even it's not done yet, but today is a good day. I feel good and I share. I wouldn't share if I would had bad day, and I would share about depression. So just please listen what people say. pray for them. Open heart to not just hear, but just listen. Depression is a hard way, and if we as a Christian, it's so hard for us. I can't imagine for non-Christian, because we have hope, we have help, we have Holy Spirit to fight for us. They don't. We have to be for them, for these people, to fight this war for them. So this is what I wanted to share. And if you have a question, you ask. I can share more if you're interested in something, like maybe I didn't say something. How I actually going through my healing way. So because I can tell you who I was and who I am right now and where I am right now in depression, it's like huge different. There is like huge way of healing. One more thing I forgot to tell that helped me so much, it just the counselor told me that the problem, so when we in the childhood, our kind of view or ourself depends on like have the family, so as school, so it shaped. For me, it was, I'm a bad influence, I am not a good person, I'm not a good friend. So and she said that the understanding who you are is just like this. And whenever people, I grew up right now, and whenever people say something good about me, I put on this my kind of like view of myself, and it's not fitting in, so I just brush off and say, oh, they're just sugarcoating or something, you know, just make me feel good or something. And I don't believe in it. But whenever people say bad about me, I put them like, oh, it fits, and I believe in it. And she said, right now you have to switch it with a God perspective, with God view on me. So how God sees on me. And I have to be like so I forgot this word. So whenever people say bad about me, I have to put and say it doesn't fit, because God doesn't see me this way. God think differently about me, how it created me differently. So I put and I brush it off. And whenever people say something that helps to build up this, so I have to rearrange or whatever. So I have to switch my view and my understanding that I can hear people correctly. And it's true because whenever people say something good about me, before I usually say, oh, you just don't know me. And sometimes I even say them, give kind of, if people don't know me, I give an idea. I'm like, oh, I'm this kind of person, because I used to it. From my childhood, from school, from church, from everything, I build up the understanding that I'm just not a good person. But God think differently. God is amazing, and he thinks differently about. And I need to switch my brain and train my brain, see differently, think differently. And so this is what I want to you, the person who needs to hear it, just work. And it's just so hard, be honestly, it is so hard to change I'm 47 years old, so this is, I train my brain, and now I have to switch and think differently, and it's so hard. But I know it's possible, and we can do it together and pray for each other together, and I know it's worth it to fight for. It is, because the peace inside, the happiness inside, that I can finally see again the person I was before, it's so nice, because I miss the person who I was. I was creative and spontaneous and serving. I love to serve people and do a lot of ministry, you know, just put all my fire for God. And for a long time, I was just sitting on the bench, just complaining. So I'm so happy that slowly I am back. Slowly I am doing my first ministry at a church for a long time, and I'm going to Mexico. So at this point, just pray for me, because you know that I still have depression that I can go through with God's help. At this point, I need just a lot of prayers. So remember that God loves you and He died for us, that we would have hope and we would have life. Have a good day.